Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time, way back to the heart of ancient Rome. Forget everything you think you know about Roman public baths, because trust me, it's not what you think. You're about to experience a day in the life of a Roman citizen, not just any day, but a bath day. Imagine the year is 150 AD, the air is thick with the scent of olive oil, sweat, and something vaguely floral, and the cacophony of 1,000 voices echoes through marble halls. You probably won't survive this experience without a serious case of culture shock, but hey, that's half the fun, right? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're feeling extra cozy, drop your location and local time in the comments below. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand at the grand entrance of the Baths of Caracalla, a monumental complex that dwarfs anything you've ever seen. The sheer scale of it is breathtaking, a testament to Roman ambition and engineering prowess. You push through the heavy bronze doors, and immediately, your senses are assaulted. The air is warm and humid, carrying a symphony of sounds, the splashing of water, the shouts of vendors, the murmur of conversations, and the rhythmic thud of a ball game from somewhere within. It's less a quiet spa and more a bustling city within a city, a vibrant hub of Roman life. You can almost taste the dust and the steam, a peculiar blend that is uniquely Roman. It's a place where social classes mingle, where the senator might rub shoulders with the freedman, albeit in different sections or at different times of day. Historians still argue whether the mixing of social classes was truly egalitarian or merely a facade, but for now, you're just trying to take it all in. As you navigate the initial throng, you notice the intricate mosaics underfoot, depicting mythical scenes and geometric patterns, still vibrant after centuries. The walls soar upwards, adorned with colossal statues of gods and emperors, their marble eyes seemingly following your every move. It's a feast for the eyes, a deliberate display of wealth and power designed to impress and awe. You might even catch a glimpse of a philosopher deep in thought, or a poet reciting verses to a small, captivated audience. It's a place of both physical and intellectual nourishment. One quirky tidbit: some Roman baths even had their own libraries, offering scrolls for patrons to peruse between dips. Imagine trying to read a scroll while dodging a stray ball from a game of Trigon. You chuckle to yourself, a little nervous, a little excited. This isn't just a place to get clean. It's an entire experience, a daily ritual that shapes the very fabric of Roman society. You feel a slight push from behind as another patron, eager to begin their own bathing journey, nudges you forward. The current of humanity carries you deeper into the labyrinthine complex, ready for whatever comes next. The human tide sweeps you into a vast, echoing chamber, the apodyterium. This isn't your private locker room at the gym, oh no. Imagine a bustling train station concourse, but everyone is slowly, deliberately, and very publicly disrobing. You look around, a little bewildered, as Romans of all stripes are shedding their togas and tunics with practiced ease. There are no individual changing stalls here, just rows of niches or cubbyholes carved into the walls, where people stash their clothes and valuables. You clutch your toga a little tighter, feeling a blush creep up your neck. It's a bit like showing up to a fancy dress party only to realize everyone else is in their underwear, and you're still in your full costume. Awkward, right? Your eyes dart around, trying to find an empty niche. You spot one, thankfully not too close to the boisterous group of young men wrestling playfully nearby. As you begin to untie your toga, you realize the sheer vulnerability of the situation. This is where your social standing, or lack thereof, becomes acutely visible. The rich might have a slave, a capsarius, guarding their belongings, ensuring no opportunistic thief makes off with their prized signet ring or a particularly fetching pair of sandals. You, however, are on your own, so you fold your tunic carefully and tuck it deep into the niche, hoping for the best. Historians still argue whether the presence of capsarii truly deterred theft or merely provided a sense of security for the elite, but one thing is certain: petty crime was a constant concern in these crowded spaces. You can almost hear the faint jingle of coins as someone nearby checks their purse, a subtle reminder to stay vigilant. As you strip down to your simple loincloth, or subligaculum, you notice the sheer variety of bodies around you. Old, young, plump, lean, scarred, smooth, all are equal in their nakedness or near-nakedness within these walls. It's a great equalizer, in a way, stripping away the outward symbols of status. Yet, even here, subtle cues remain. The quality of one's subligaculum, perhaps, or the presence of elaborate tattoos, though those were more common among gladiators and soldiers. You try to look nonchalant, as if communal undressing is an everyday occurrence for you, which, if you were a Roman, it would be. You even manage a small, internal joke. You wonder if anyone ever accidentally walks out with someone else's toga. Probably not, given the sheer individuality of Roman fashion, but a man can dream of a toga swap gone wrong. This communal vulnerability fostered a unique sense of camaraderie, or at least a shared understanding of the human condition. One quirky tidbit: some Romans would even leave their clothes with a trusted friend or a slave outside the baths, just to avoid the risk of theft inside the apoditerium. As you finish securing your meager belongings, you notice a group of men gathered around a large, intricately carved marble basin. This is where the initial cleansing happens. Not a full bath, mind you, but a quick splash of cool water to refresh yourself before the real bathing ritual begins. You join the queue, observing the various postures and expressions around you. Some are eager, already anticipating the warmth of the tepidarium, while others seem to be going through the motions, perhaps having visited the baths countless times before. You dip your hands into the cool water, splashing it onto your face and neck. It's surprisingly refreshing, washing away the grime of the city streets and preparing your skin for the oils and heat to come. You can't help but think of it as a sort of ancient Roman pregame shower, just without the soap. Or, privacy. Suddenly, a loud shout erupts from across the room. A man, clearly agitated, is gesticulating wildly at his empty niche. His capsarius, a young boy, looks terrified, stammering apologies. It seems his prized signet ring has vanished. A small crowd gathers, murmuring sympathetically, or perhaps just morbidly curious. The bath attendants, burly men with stern faces, quickly move in to investigate, but the chances of recovering the item are slim. This is the flip side of the communal experience, the constant threat of theft. You silently pat your own tucked-away tunic, feeling a surge of relief that your modest possessions are still safe. It's a stark reminder that even in these grand, public spaces, vigilance is key. Historians still debate the effectiveness of Roman law enforcement within these bath complexes, with some arguing that the sheer volume of people made it a haven for petty criminals, while others suggest that the presence of balneators, bath managers, and their staff provided a reasonable level of security. You decide to keep a closer eye on your things from now on, a valuable lesson learned early in your Roman bath journey. You adjust your subligaculum, feeling a little more seasoned, a little less naive. The next step awaits, and with it, a new set of sensory experiences. You're ready, or at least you think you are. The gentle hum of anticipation fills the air, mingling with the lingering scent of sweat and marble. You take a deep breath, ready to move on to the next stage of this ancient ritual. Leaving the bustling, slightly unnerving chaos of the apoditerium, you find yourself in a large, open-air courtyard, bathed in the warm Roman sun. This is the palestra, a vibrant space dedicated to exercise and socializing. It's not a gym in the modern sense, with rows of gleaming machines and motivational posters. Instead, imagine a lively park, but everyone is either working up a sweat or intently watching others do so. The ground beneath your feet is a mix of packed earth and sand, perfect for the various athletic pursuits taking place. The air here is different too, less humid, more invigorating, filled with the sounds of grunts, shouts, and the rhythmic thud of bodies in motion. You see groups of men engaged in wrestling, their oiled bodies glistening in the sunlight, locked in ancient holds. Others are throwing javelins, their powerful arcs cutting through the air, or lifting rudimentary weights, grunting with effort. It's a scene of raw, physical exertion, a stark contrast to the more contemplative atmosphere you might expect from a bathhouse. You notice a few individuals playing harpastum, a rough-and-tumble ball game that looks suspiciously like a precursor to rugby, complete with enthusiastic tackles and plenty of shouting. You wisely decide to keep a safe distance from that particular melee, not wanting to end up with a broken nose before you've even had a proper bath. Historians still argue whether the palestra was primarily for serious athletic training or more for recreational activity and social display, but it's clear that both elements were present. As you observe, you realize the palestra is as much a social arena as it is an athletic one. Groups of men stand around, chatting animatedly, discussing politics, business, or the latest gossip. You overhear snippets of conversation about upcoming gladiatorial games, a senator's recent speech, and even a rather scandalous tale about a wealthy merchant's wife. It's like the ancient Roman equivalent of a water cooler, but with more sweat and significantly less clothing. You might even spot a philosopher holding court, surrounded by eager students, debating the finer points of stoicism while a wrestling match rages nearby. It's a wonderfully chaotic blend of high culture and lowbrow entertainment. One quirky tidbit: some Roman emperors, like Nero, were known to participate in these athletic contests themselves, often with questionable skill but undeniable enthusiasm. Imagine trying to subtly let the emperor win a wrestling match without making it too obvious. You feel a gentle nudge and turn to see an older Roman man, his face etched with wrinkles but his eyes twinkling with amusement. He gestures towards a group playing trigon, a fast-paced ball game involving 3 players arranged in a triangle, throwing and catching multiple balls simultaneously. It looks incredibly complex, requiring quick reflexes and even quicker wit. He offers you a spot, and despite your initial hesitation, you decide to join in. It's a chance to immerse yourself fully in the Roman experience, to move beyond mere observation. You quickly discover that your hand-eye coordination isn't quite up to Roman standards, as a ball whizzes past your ear, narrowly missing you. Your new companions laugh good-naturedly, offering tips and encouragement. It's a refreshing change from the competitive intensity of the wrestling, a more relaxed way to work up a sweat. After a few rounds of trigon, your muscles are starting to feel the burn, and a fine sheen of perspiration covers your skin. This is precisely the point of the palestra, to get your body warmed up and your pores open, ready for the cleansing rituals to come. You thank your temporary teammates and excuse yourself, feeling a sense of accomplishment. You've not only exercised but also engaged in a bit of Roman camaraderie, a small victory in itself. As you walk towards the next section of the baths, you notice a young boy diligently sweeping the sand, kicking up small clouds of dust. Even here, in this grand complex, the mundane tasks of daily life continue. It reminds you that for all its grandeur, Rome was still a city of people, with all their routines and necessities. You pass by a small concession stand, where vendors are hawking refreshing drinks and light snacks. You're tempted by a cup of chilled wine mixed with honey, but decide to wait until after your bath. The thought of getting sticky before you're even clean seems counterproductive. You also notice a few men getting massaged with olive oil, their muscles being kneaded by skilled hands. It looks incredibly relaxing, a reward for their exertions in the palestra. You make a mental note to consider that later. Historians still debate the exact role of massage in the Roman bathing ritual, with some suggesting it was purely for relaxation, while others believe it had therapeutic or even medicinal purposes. Regardless, it was clearly an integral part of the experience. As you exit the palestra, the sounds of exertion begin to fade, replaced by a different kind of hum. You feel a pleasant warmth radiating from the next chamber, a gentle invitation to deeper relaxation. Your body feels invigorated, your mind a little clearer, and you've even managed to crack a smile or two. You're starting to get the hang of this Roman bath thing, even if you still feel a little out of place. The communal aspect, the sheer openness of it all, is both daunting and strangely liberating. You glance back at the palestra, a whirlwind of activity, and then turn your attention forward, towards the promise of warmth and tranquility. The journey through the Roman baths is just beginning, and you're ready for the next step, whatever ancient wonders it may hold. You step from the bright, sun-drenched palestra into a chamber that immediately envelopes you in a gentle, pervasive warmth. This is the tepidarium, the warm room, and it feels like a comforting embrace after the physical exertion you've just experienced. The air is humid but not stifling, a perfect prelude to the hotter rooms that lie ahead. The light here is softer, filtered through high windows, casting a serene glow on the marble walls and floors. The boisterous shouts and grunts of the palestra fade into a distant murmur, replaced by the hushed tones of conversation and the soft splashing of water. As you enter, you notice the absence of any pools for full immersion. Instead, there are benches and alcoves carved into the walls, where people recline, some chatting quietly, others simply enjoying the warmth, their eyes closed in blissful relaxation. The heat isn't intense enough to make you sweat profusely, but it's sufficient to open your pores and loosen your muscles, preparing your body for the more extreme temperatures to come. It's like the warm-up act before the main event, a gentle coaxing of your senses into a state of deep relaxation. You find an empty spot on a marble bench, the stone pleasantly warm against your skin, and let out a sigh you didn't realize you were holding. This is what you came for, isn't it? This slow, deliberate unwinding. Around you, people are engaged in various forms of pre-bath rituals. Some are being lightly massaged by attendants, their skin being worked with fragrant oils. Others are simply stretching, easing out the kinks from their day or their recent athletic endeavors. You might even see someone having their body hair plucked, a common practice for both men and women in Roman society. It sounds painful, but the Romans were surprisingly fastidious about smooth skin. Historians still argue whether this practice was purely aesthetic or had deeper cultural significance related to purity and status. You can't help but wince a little at the thought, grateful that your own grooming needs are, for the moment, less demanding. It's a bit like watching someone get a bikini wax at a public pool, but, ancient and Roman. The tepidarium is also a prime spot for social interaction, but of a more subdued nature than the palestra. Conversations here are quieter, more intimate. You might overhear two senators discussing philosophy, or a merchant negotiating a deal in hushed tones. It's a place where reputations are subtly built and alliances are quietly forged. The gentle warmth seems to encourage a certain openness, a willingness to engage in more personal exchanges. You notice a man nearby, his eyes closed, humming a tuneless melody. He looks utterly content, lost in the moment. You wonder what thoughts are drifting through his mind, what worries the warmth is melting away. One quirky tidbit about the tepidarium: some sources suggest that it was often the most ornately decorated room in the entire bath complex, a deliberate display of luxury and artistry. The Romans understood that the transition from the outside world to the inner sanctum of the baths should be a visually pleasing one. Imagine intricate frescoes on the walls, depicting mythological scenes or lush gardens, and perhaps even a small fountain gently bubbling in the center, adding to the soothing ambience. It's a far cry from the utilitarian changing rooms of today, isn't it? This was a space designed not just for physical preparation, but for mental and emotional decompression. As you sit there, the warmth seeps into your bones, chasing away any lingering tension. You feel your muscles begin to relax, your breathing deepen. The air, infused with the scent of olive oil and perhaps a hint of lavender from the unguents being applied nearby, is surprisingly pleasant. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sensations wash over you. You can almost feel the day's stresses dissolving, melting away with each passing minute. This is the true genius of the Roman bath system, the carefully orchestrated progression of temperatures, each room serving a specific purpose in the ritual of cleansing and rejuvenation. You open your eyes, feeling a renewed sense of calm. You're ready now, truly ready, for the next stage. The thought of the hotter rooms no longer seems daunting, but rather an exciting prospect. You stand up, feeling lighter, more limber. The marble floor is still warm beneath your feet, guiding you towards the next archway. You pass by a group of women, their laughter soft and melodious, as they too prepare for their journey through the baths. Yes, women had their own sections or specific hours, ensuring a degree of decorum, though historians still debate the extent of gender segregation in all Roman baths. For now, you're simply moving with the flow, a willing participant in this ancient dance of heat and water. The transition is seamless, a natural progression. You're not rushing, not being pushed, but rather drawn forward by the promise of deeper warmth, deeper cleansing. The tepidarium has done its job, gently easing you into the heart of the Roman bathing experience. You glance back one last time at the serene figures still lounging on the benches, and then turn your gaze forward, towards the slightly more intense glow emanating from the next chamber. The air already feels thicker, heavier, promising a more profound encounter with heat. You take a deep breath, ready to surrender yourself to the ancient Roman way of purification. The journey continues, one warm step at a time. From the gentle embrace of the tepidarium, you now step into the caldarium, and the change is immediate and dramatic. A wave of intense, moist heat washes over you, instantly coating your skin in a fine sheen of perspiration. This isn't just warm, this is hot. Imagine walking into a giant, luxurious steam room, but instead of just steam, there's also a large, deep pool of steaming hot water, the alveus, inviting you to immerse yourself. The air is thick with vapor, making the colossal marble columns and vaulted ceilings appear hazy, almost ethereal. Sounds are muffled, and the world outside this steamy cocoon feels miles away. This is where the serious cleansing begins, where your body truly starts to purge the day's impurities. You find yourself instinctively taking shallower breaths, adjusting to the oppressive humidity. The floor is warm, almost hot, beneath your feet, and the walls radiate heat from the ingenious hypocaust system beneath. You can almost hear the distant crackle of the furnaces, tirelessly working to maintain this inferno. People are scattered around the room, some submerged in the alveus, others sitting on marble benches, their faces glistening with sweat, looking simultaneously uncomfortable and utterly relaxed. It's a bit like a sauna, but with a grander, more communal, and frankly, more intimidating atmosphere. You feel a bead of sweat trickle down your temple, and then another and another. Your pores, already opened by the tepidarium, are now in full-on detox mode. Approaching the alveus, you notice the water is surprisingly clear, despite the number of bodies. The Romans were meticulous about their water supply and drainage, a testament to their advanced engineering. You tentatively dip a toe into the hot pool, and the warmth is almost scalding at first, but then your body begins to adjust, and it becomes surprisingly soothing. You slide in, letting the hot water envelop you. The sensation is incredibly relaxing, the heat penetrating deep into your muscles, easing any remaining tension. You close your eyes, letting the steam and warmth work their magic. You can almost feel the grime and worries of the day melting away, dissolving into the hot water. Historians still argue whether the caldarium was primarily for hygiene or for its perceived therapeutic benefits, but for you, right now, it's pure, unadulterated bliss. As you float in the alveus, you observe the rituals around you. Some bathers are using small, individual bowls to pour hot water over themselves, a personal ablution within the communal space. Others are chatting quietly, their voices hushed by the steam. You might even see a slave diligently scrubbing down a patron, a reminder that even in this egalitarian space, social hierarchies persisted. It's a strange paradox, this blend of public vulnerability and private service. You can't help but wonder if anyone ever accidentally drinks the bathwater. Probably not, but the thought makes you chuckle, a silent, steamy laugh. One quirky tidbit: some caldaria had a labrum, a large, cold water basin, positioned nearby for quick rinses, offering a momentary respite from the intense heat before diving back in. After a good soak, you emerge from the alveus, feeling thoroughly parboiled, in the best possible way. Your skin is flushed, your muscles loose, and you feel a profound sense of lightness. The sweat continues to pour, carrying away toxins and leaving you feeling incredibly clean. You grab a seat on a marble bench, letting the ambient heat continue its work. You notice the sheer scale of the room, the impressive architecture designed to contain and distribute this immense heat. The Romans were masters of climate control, long before thermostats were even a twinkle in an inventor's eye. This was not just a functional space, it was a statement of power and ingenuity. You might catch a glimpse of a Roman matron, attended by her slaves, gracefully navigating the steamy environment. Or perhaps a group of soldiers, their bodies scarred from campaigns, finding solace in the communal warmth. The caldarium was a place where everyone, regardless of their station, submitted to the purifying power of heat and water. It was a daily ritual, a necessity, and a luxury all rolled into one. You wipe the sweat from your brow, feeling utterly refreshed, almost reborn. The intensity of the heat has cleared your mind, leaving you with a sense of calm focus. You're ready for the next stage of this ancient journey, whatever fiery or icy challenge it may present. The air still shimmers with heat, a lingering promise of deep cleansing, as you prepare to move on, your body tingling with anticipation. Having emerged from the humid embrace of the caldarium, you now seek an even more intense form of heat. You are drawn towards a smaller, more enclosed chamber, where the air feels distinctly different, dry, scorching, almost brittle. This is the laconicum, or sometimes called the sudatorium, the Roman equivalent of a dry sauna or sweat lodge. If the caldarium was a warm, steamy hug, the laconicum is a fierce, dry blast, designed for maximum perspiration and deep purification. The transition is stark, and your skin immediately prickles in response to the arid heat. The room is typically circular or octagonal, with benches arranged around the perimeter. There are no pools here, just an overwhelming, pervasive heat that seems to bake you from the inside out. The walls are often plain, less ornate than the tepidarium or caldarium, emphasizing the functional purpose of this space, to make you sweat and sweat profusely. You find a spot on a wooden bench, thankfully not marble, which would be unbearable, and sit down, feeling the heat immediately begin its work. It's so hot that the air itself feels heavy, almost solid. You can almost hear your pores screaming for mercy, then gratefully opening wide. It's a bit like being in an oven, but a very intentional, therapeutic oven. You wonder if anyone ever accidentally leaves a loaf of bread in here. Probably not, but the thought is amusing. Within moments, your body responds, and rivulets of sweat begin to cascade down your skin. This is a different kind of sweat than in the caldarium. It feels cleaner, more intense, as if every impurity is being drawn out. The dry heat makes it evaporate quickly, creating a constant cycle of sweating and cooling that is both invigorating and exhausting. You close your eyes, focusing on your breath, trying to adapt to the extreme conditions. It's a test of endurance, a mental and physical challenge. You notice other bathers in various states of meditative stillness or quiet contemplation, their faces flushed, their bodies glistening. There's a profound silence in this room, broken only by the occasional sigh or the soft drip of sweat onto the floor. Historians still argue whether the laconicum was a later addition to the Roman bath complex or an integral part of the original design, but its purpose for intense sweating is undeniable. One quirky tidbit about the laconicum: it was often heated to such extreme temperatures that some bathers would use a special tool, a strigil, to scrape off the sweat and grime during their session, rather than waiting until later. Imagine the dedication to cleanliness. You, however, are content to simply sit and let the heat do its work, feeling the tension drain from your muscles, the worries from your mind. It's a powerful, almost spiritual experience, this deliberate act of purification. You feel lighter, cleaner, as if shedding not just physical impurities but mental burdens as well. The heat forces you to be present, to focus on your body and its sensations, pushing everything else aside. After what feels like an eternity, but is probably only a few minutes, you decide you've had enough. Your skin is tingling, your head feels light, and you know you've achieved the desired level of perspiration. You stand up slowly, feeling a renewed sense of energy despite the heat. The dry air has done its job, leaving you feeling thoroughly cleansed and invigorated. You wipe the sweat from your eyes, a small smile playing on your lips. You've faced the fire, and you've emerged, if not unscathed, then certainly purified. It's a strange kind of triumph, conquering the heat, but a triumph nonetheless. You can almost hear your ancestors cheering you on, proud of your commitment to ancient Roman hygiene. As you step out of the laconicum, the air outside feels almost cool by comparison, even though you're still within the warm confines of the bath complex. The contrast is sharp, a welcome relief after the intense dry heat. You feel a sense of accomplishment, having pushed your body to its limits in the pursuit of cleanliness and well-being. Your skin feels incredibly soft, your muscles deeply relaxed. You're now perfectly primed for the next, and perhaps most shocking, stage of the Roman bathing ritual. You glance back at the entrance to the laconicum, a silent nod of respect to its purifying power. The journey through the Roman baths is a carefully orchestrated dance of temperatures, each step building upon the last, preparing you for the ultimate sensory experience. You take a deep breath, ready for the plunge, literally. The anticipation is palpable, a mix of dread and excitement, as you prepare to face the frigid embrace of the next chamber. After the fiery embrace of the laconicum, your body is primed, pores wide open, muscles thoroughly relaxed. You step out, feeling a profound sense of warmth radiating from your core. But the journey isn't over. In fact, the most bracing part is yet to come. You move towards another chamber, and this one feels distinctly different. A chill permeates the air, a stark contrast to the heat you've just endured. This is the frigidarium, the cold room, and it houses the cold plunge pool, a true Roman wake-up call. You can almost hear your body's internal thermostat screaming in protest, but curiosity and the promise of ultimate refreshment propels you forward. The frigidarium is often a grand, open space, sometimes even outdoors or partially open to the sky, allowing for natural light. The centerpiece is, of course, the large, unheated pool of water. The water looks deceptively still, almost inviting, but you know better. You've heard tales of the shock, the gasp, the invigorating jolt that awaits. It's like standing at the edge of a frozen lake in winter, knowing you're about to jump in, but in a much more aesthetically pleasing, marble-clad setting. You might even see a few brave souls already in the water, their gasps echoing slightly, their skin a vivid red from the sudden temperature change. It's a bit like watching someone eat a super spicy chili. You know it's going to hurt, but you can't look away. You approach the edge of the pool, your toes tentatively testing the water. It's icy, shockingly so, sending shivers up your spine. Your body, still radiating heat from the caldarium and laconicum, recoils instinctively. This is the Roman equivalent of a cold shower, but taken to an extreme. The purpose is clear: to close your pores, stimulate circulation, and provide an invigorating shock to the system after the prolonged heat. It's believed to prevent chills and even strengthen the body. Historians still argue whether the primary benefit of the frigidarium was physiological or psychological, a test of willpower as much as a physical cleanse. Taking a deep breath, you steel yourself and plunge in. The initial sensation is an absolute shock. The cold water hits your skin like 1,000 tiny needles, stealing your breath and making your muscles clench. You gasp, a primal sound escaping your lips, as your body fights against the sudden, extreme temperature drop. For a moment, you feel utterly disoriented, the world reduced to the sensation of biting cold. It's a full-body reset, a complete sensory overload that snaps you wide awake. You might even let out a small, involuntary yelp, which is perfectly acceptable here. Everyone does it. It's the universal language of the cold plunge. But then, something remarkable happens. As your body adjusts, a strange warmth begins to spread from within. The initial shock gives way to an exhilarating rush, a tingling sensation that courses through your veins. Your mind feels incredibly clear, your senses heightened. You feel alive, truly, vibrantly alive. It's a feeling of profound refreshment, a complete rejuvenation after the intense heat. You might even find yourself laughing, a slightly hysterical, triumphant laugh at having conquered the cold. It's a powerful reminder of your own resilience, a small victory in the grand scheme of Roman bathing. You don't linger long in the frigidarium. A quick dip, perhaps a few strokes, and then you're scrambling out, your skin glowing, your body buzzing with renewed energy. The air outside the pool, though still cool, now feels almost balmy in comparison. You towel off briskly, feeling the blood rush back to your extremities, leaving you with a delightful warmth. It's a sensation that's hard to describe, a blend of invigoration and deep calm. You feel utterly cleansed, inside and out, ready to face whatever the Roman day throws at you. One quirky tidbit: some frigid aria were so large and elaborate that they were used for swimming, not just quick plunges, complete with fountains and decorative statues. Imagine doing laps in icy water, just for fun. As you stand there, drying off, you notice the other bathers emerging from the cold pool, each with their own unique reaction. Some shivering uncontrollably, others beaming with a sense of accomplishment. It's a shared experience, a communal rite of passage that binds you to your fellow Romans. You've gone through the fire and the ice, and you've emerged stronger, cleaner, and more awake than you felt all day. This final shock to the system is the perfect capstone to the heating cycle, preparing your body for the next stages of the bathing ritual, which involve more personal care and relaxation. You glance back at the shimmering surface of the frigidarium pool, a silent acknowledgement of its power. It's a place of extremes, a testament to the Roman belief in the therapeutic benefits of hot and cold contrasts. You've survived, and more than that, you've thrived. The journey through the Roman baths is a carefully choreographed dance of temperatures, each step designed to bring you closer to a state of perfect balance and well-being. You feel a lightness in your step, a clarity in your mind, as you move towards the next section, ready for the final touches of this ancient purification. The air still holds a hint of coolness, a lingering memory of the invigorating plunge, as you prepare to embrace the next phase of your Roman bath experience. Having survived the invigorating shock of the frigidarium, you emerge feeling incredibly clean, but not quite finished. Your skin is tingling, your body humming with renewed energy. Now comes the part that might seem a little unconventional to your modern sensibilities. You head towards a designated area, often near the tepidarium or a specialized room, where the final stages of Roman hygiene take place. This is where you truly learn the art of the strigil and the luxurious ritual of oil anointing. You watch as others around you engage in this ancient practice. A strigil is a curved metal implement, typically bronze or iron, shaped somewhat like a blunt letter opener or a small, elongated spoon. It's not for shaving, nor is it a weapon, though in the wrong hands, it could probably do some damage. Its purpose is far more intimate: to scrape off the mixture of sweat, dirt, and olive oil that has accumulated on your skin during your journey through the baths. You might initially wince at the sight, thinking it looks rather harsh, but you're assured it's surprisingly effective and, when done correctly, not at all painful. It's a bit like using a squeegee on a very sweaty window, but the window is you. You wonder if they had different sizes for different body parts. Probably not, but a man can dream of a miniature strigil for, say, behind the ears. You pick up a strigil yourself, feeling its cool weight in your hand. It's a simple tool, yet central to Roman personal care. You apply a fresh layer of olive oil to your skin, often a scented variety, perhaps infused with rose or lavender, which helps to loosen any remaining grime and lubricate the skin for the scraping. Then, with a gentle but firm hand, you begin to draw the strigil down your arm. The sensation is surprisingly satisfying. You see the grayish mixture of oil, sweat, and dead skin cells collecting on the blade. It's a visible testament to the cleansing process, a tangible sign of your purification. You repeat the motion, systematically working your way across your body, feeling incredibly clean with each pass. Historians still argue whether the strigil was primarily for hygiene or also served as a form of exfoliation, but its role in Roman bathing is undisputed. For those who could afford it, a slave would perform this task, meticulously scraping every inch of their master's body. Imagine the luxury of having someone else do the dirty work. But for most, it was a self-administered ritual, a moment of quiet, focused self-care. You notice the rhythmic scraping sounds filling the air, a peculiar symphony of cleanliness. It's a deeply personal act, yet performed in a communal setting, another one of those Roman paradoxes you're becoming accustomed to. One quirky tidbit: some wealthy Romans would even have their strigils made of precious metals, intricately decorated, turning a utilitarian tool into a status symbol. Imagine trying to scrape yourself with a gold strigil. Talk about fancy. Once you've thoroughly scraped yourself clean, your skin feels incredibly smooth and soft, almost baby-like. Now comes the final, most luxurious part of this stage: the anointing with fresh, fragrant oils. You choose a small vial of perfumed oil, perhaps jasmine or myrrh, and pour a few drops into your palm. The scent is exquisite, a stark contrast to the earthy smells of the baths. You rub the oil into your skin, feeling its rich, emollient texture. It's not just about moisturizing, it's about protecting your skin, making it supple, and leaving you with a delicate, lingering fragrance. This was the Roman equivalent of your post-shower lotion, but far more elaborate and aromatic. The oil seeps into your freshly cleansed pores, leaving your skin glowing and hydrated. You feel utterly pampered, a true Roman citizen indulging in one of life's simple yet profound pleasures. The combination of the intense heat, the cold plunge, the scraping, and finally the anointing leaves you feeling not just clean, but completely renewed. It's a holistic experience, addressing both the physical and sensory aspects of well-being. You can almost hear your skin sighing in contentment. You might even catch a glimpse of someone applying a special ointment to their hair, or perhaps a facial mask. The Romans were surprisingly sophisticated in their beauty routines, even if some of their ingredients, like crocodile dung, might make you raise an eyebrow. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen? Good times. As you finish anointing yourself, you feel a sense of completion. The physical journey through the baths is largely done. You've shed the day's grime, invigorated your body, and pampered your skin. You're now ready to transition to the more social and leisurely aspects of the bath complex, perhaps to relax, socialize, or even engage in some intellectual pursuits. The lingering scent of the perfumed oil is a pleasant reminder of your transformation, a subtle declaration of your newfound cleanliness and well-being. You glance around, noticing the satisfied expressions on the faces of your fellow bathers. It's a shared ritual, a communal journey towards purity and rejuvenation. You feel a lightness in your step, a clarity in your mind, as you prepare to embrace the next phase of your Roman bath experience, feeling utterly refreshed and ready for whatever comes next. With your body thoroughly cleansed and oiled, you might think your Roman bath experience is complete. But oh no, my friend, you've only just begun to delve into the fascinating, sometimes bizarre, world of ancient Roman grooming and beauty treatments. This isn't just about getting clean, it's about presenting your best, most polished self to the world, even if that self involves some rather peculiar practices by modern standards. You find yourself in an area often adjacent to the tepidarium or a dedicated beauty salon within the baths, a place bustling with activity and a surprising array of specialized attendants. Here, the air is thick with the scent of various perfumes, unguents, and perhaps a faint, metallic tang from the implements being used. You see men and women, often in separate sections or at different times, indulging in a range of treatments. One of the most common, and perhaps most startling to you, is hair removal. Forget your modern razors or waxing strips. The Romans had their own methods, and they were thorough. You might witness someone having their body hair plucked, strand by agonizing strand, with tweezers called valselli. It sounds excruciating, doesn't it? But for the Romans, smooth, hairless skin was a sign of youth, cleanliness, and refinement. It's a bit like getting a full-body eyebrow pluck, but everywhere. You can almost feel the phantom pain just watching. Historians still argue whether the obsession with hair removal was purely aesthetic or also linked to perceptions of hygiene and social status. Beyond plucking, there were depilatory creams made from ingredients that would make your modern dermatologist faint, things like resin, pitch, and even arsenic sulfide. Yes, you heard that right, arsenic. You wisely decide to stick to the valselli if you must, but for now, you're content to observe. You notice the meticulousness with which these procedures are carried out, a testament to the Roman dedication to personal appearance. It wasn't just for women. Many Roman men also sought to be completely hairless, believing it to be a mark of civilization. One quirky tidbit: some Roman men would even have their beards plucked, rather than shaved, a process that could take hours and was often accompanied by much groaning and cursing. But it wasn't all about pain. The baths were also a hub for luxurious cosmetic applications. You see women having their hair styled, often with elaborate braids and curls, sometimes dyed with natural pigments. They might be applying face paints, white lead for a pale complexion, red ochre for rosy cheeks, and kohl for darkening eyelashes and eyebrows. Men, too, used cosmetics, though perhaps more subtly, to cover blemishes or enhance their features. You might even spot someone getting a wig fitted, a common accessory for both men and women, especially those with thinning hair or who desired a change of style. It's a full-service beauty parlor, Roman style, offering everything from a quick touch-up to a complete transformation. The range of perfumes and oils available is staggering. After your anointing in the previous section, you might be offered a choice of even more exotic fragrances. Imagine scents derived from frankincense, myrrh, cinnamon, or even rare flowers imported from distant lands. These weren't just for smelling good, they were also believed to have medicinal properties or to ward off evil spirits. You might see attendants carefully mixing ingredients, creating custom blends for discerning patrons. It's a sensory overload, a delightful assault on your olfactory senses, far more complex than your single bottle of modern cologne or perfume. You can almost feel the ancient Roman equivalent of a department store perfume counter, but with more toga-clad shoppers. As you wander through this beauty hub, you realize the sheer effort and resources Romans dedicated to their appearance. It wasn't vanity, not entirely. It was a reflection of their social standing, their cultural values, and their desire to present a polished, respectable image to the world. The baths, therefore, were not just about physical cleansing but also about social presentation. You might even see a poet or orator having their teeth cleaned and whitened with a paste made from urine. Yes, urine. The ammonia was a powerful bleaching agent. You quickly decide that some ancient Roman beauty secrets are best left in the past. You chuckle to yourself, thinking about how much you take your modern toothpaste for granted. This meticulous attention to grooming extended to every detail. Nails were trimmed and buffed, often with specialized tools. Hands and feet were massaged and softened. The goal was a holistic sense of well-being and aesthetic perfection. You feel a renewed appreciation for the simpler, less painful beauty routines of your own time, but also a grudging respect for the Romans' dedication. They truly believed that a healthy body and a beautiful appearance were intertwined, essential components of a good life. You've seen the extremes, from the intense heat to the icy plunge, from the scraping strigil to the delicate application of perfume. You're now not just clean, but polished, scented, and ready to face the world, or at least the next section of the baths, with a newfound Roman flair. After the rigorous journey through heat, cold, scraping, and even the occasional hair plucking, your body is not just clean and invigorated, but also, let's be honest, a little peckish and parched. You've worked up an appetite, and thankfully, the Romans, ever practical and indulgent, anticipated this need. You drift towards areas within the bath complex, often near the tepidarium or the palestra, where vendors and small stalls offer a welcome array of food and drink. This isn't a full-blown feast, but rather a chance to replenish your energy with light snacks and cool, refreshing beverages. The air here carries new aromas, a delightful departure from the oils and steam. You catch the scent of freshly baked bread, sweet fruits, and perhaps a hint of spiced wine. It's a pleasant assault on your senses, a reward for your efforts. You see various vendors, some with portable trays, others with more permanent counters, hawking their wares. There's a lively buzz of conversation, but it's a more relaxed, contented hum than the earlier chaos of the apodyterium. People are sitting on benches, reclining on cushions, or simply standing and chatting, all with a snack or drink in hand. It's a bit like a modern-day food court, but with more marble and significantly less plastic. You wonder if they had a loyalty program for frequent bathers. Probably not, but a man can dream of free olives. You approach a stall laden with an assortment of delights. There are fresh figs, plump dates, and juicy grapes, all glistening in the soft light. You also spot small, savory pastries, perhaps filled with cheese or honey, and slices of flatbread, still warm from the oven. For drinks, there's water, of course, often chilled with snow brought down from the mountains, a true luxury. But you also see pasca, a refreshing, slightly acidic drink made from water, vinegar, and sometimes herbs, popular with soldiers and the common folk. And for those seeking something a little stronger, there's always diluted wine, often sweetened with honey or spiced. You opt for a handful of dates and a cup of chilled water, feeling the immediate relief as the cool liquid soothes your throat. Historians still argue whether the food and drink sold in the baths were primarily for sustenance or also served as a social lubricant, encouraging longer stays and more interaction. As you munch on your dates, savoring their sweetness, you notice the variety of people enjoying their refreshments. A group of philosophers are debating a point of logic over cups of pasca, their gestures animated. A family is sharing a loaf of bread, the children giggling as they chase each other around a column. It's a microcosm of Roman society, all taking a moment to refuel and relax. The food isn't elaborate, but it's wholesome and satisfying, perfectly suited to the needs of a post-bath body. You feel your energy levels slowly returning, the slight lightheadedness from the heat now replaced by a pleasant sense of well-being. One quirky tidbit: some wealthy Romans would even have elaborate banquets brought into the baths, complete with multiple courses and fine wines, turning their refreshment break into a full-blown dining experience. Imagine trying to eat a 7-course meal while still slightly damp from the frigidarium. You lean back against a cool marble wall, enjoying the simple pleasure of food and drink. The sounds around you are comforting: the gentle clinking of pottery, the murmur of voices, the occasional burst of laughter. It's a moment of peace and contentment, a chance to simply be after the intensity of the bathing ritual. You reflect on the sheer efficiency of the Roman bath system, how it catered to every need, from physical cleansing to social interaction and even basic sustenance. It wasn't just a place to get clean, it was a complete lifestyle experience, a daily escape from the rigors of Roman life. As you finish your snack, you feel completely refreshed, ready for whatever the rest of the bath complex has to offer. Your body feels light, your mind clear, and your stomach pleasantly full. The lingering taste of dates and the coolness of the water are a perfect end to this part of your journey. You glance around, noticing the satisfied expressions on the faces of your fellow bathers. It's a shared ritual, a communal journey towards purity and rejuvenation. You feel a lightness in your step, a clarity in your mind, as you prepare to embrace the next phase of your Roman bath experience, feeling utterly refreshed and ready for whatever comes next. The air still holds a hint of coolness, a lingering memory of the invigorating plunge, as you prepare to embrace the next phase of your Roman bath experience. With your hunger and thirst satisfied, you might assume the Roman bath experience is winding down. But you'd be mistaken. The baths were far more than just a place for physical cleansing. They were cultural centers, hubs of entertainment, and even intellectual sanctuaries. You wander further into the sprawling complex, and the sounds shift again. The splashing of water and the murmur of conversation are now interspersed with the rustle of papyrus, the clatter of gaming pieces, and perhaps the faint strains of a lyre. This is where the Romans fed their minds and spirits, not just their bodies. You discover a quiet, dignified space, lined with shelves holding countless scrolls. This is the bath library, a feature of many larger Roman bath complexes. Imagine a public library, but instead of hushed whispers, there's a gentle hum of intellectual activity, and everyone is either lightly oiled or still slightly damp. You can browse works of philosophy, history, poetry, and rhetoric, all meticulously copied and stored. It's a testament to the Roman appreciation for learning, even in a place primarily dedicated to physical well-being. You might see a scholar poring over a text, a student diligently taking notes, or simply someone enjoying a good story after their bath. It's a surprisingly serene environment, a quiet counterpoint to the more boisterous areas. Historians still argue whether these libraries were primarily for serious study or more for casual reading and intellectual display, but their existence highlights the multifaceted nature of Roman public life. Leaving the tranquility of the library, you stumble upon a more lively scene. In various alcoves and open spaces, people are engaged in a multitude of games. You see groups playing board games, perhaps a Roman version of checkers or backgammon, their faces intent on the strategy. Others are playing dice games, their shouts of triumph or groans of despair echoing through the halls. There's a palpable sense of camaraderie and friendly competition. It's a bit like a modern-day community center, but with more toga-clad gamers and significantly higher stakes on some of those dice rolls. You wonder if they had a Roman equivalent of it. No cheating rule, given the prevalence of gambling. Probably not, but a man can dream of an ancient Roman referee. Beyond games, the baths were also venues for various forms of entertainment. You might catch a performance by a musician, their lyre or flute adding a melodic backdrop to the general hubbub. Or perhaps a storyteller, captivating a small audience with tales of gods and heroes. Sometimes, even poets would recite their latest works, hoping to gain patronage or simply entertain their fellow bathers. It was a place where culture was consumed alongside cleanliness, a truly holistic experience. Imagine trying to concentrate on a philosophical treatise while someone nearby is passionately reciting an epic poem about Aeneas. It's a unique blend of intellectual stimulation and casual amusement. One quirky tidbit: some bath complexes even featured small theaters or auditoriums where plays, lectures, or public readings would take place. These weren't just for the elite, they were open to anyone who had paid the modest entrance fee to the baths. It truly underscores the idea that the baths were central to Roman public life, offering a wide array of activities beyond mere hygiene. It was a place where you could spend an entire day, moving from physical exertion to intellectual pursuits, all within the same grand complex. You could literally go from sweating profusely to pondering the meaning of life, all before lunch. As you observe these various forms of entertainment, you realize the baths served a crucial role in fostering community and cultural exchange. They were places where ideas were shared, stories were told, and friendships were forged. The relaxed atmosphere, combined with the sheer variety of activities, encouraged interaction and engagement. It was a place where the lines between social classes could blur, at least temporarily, as everyone sought enjoyment and relaxation. Historians still argue whether the entertainment provided in the baths was primarily for diversion or also served as a subtle form of social control, keeping the populace content and occupied. You might even find yourself drawn into a conversation with a stranger, discussing the merits of a particular poet or the latest news from the forum. The shared experience of the baths, the communal vulnerability, seems to break down barriers, making it easier to connect with others. It's a powerful reminder that human needs for connection and entertainment are timeless, transcending the centuries. You feel a sense of belonging, a quiet satisfaction in being part of this vibrant, ancient scene. The sounds of laughter, music, and conversation mingle with the distant splashing of water, creating a rich tapestry of Roman life. As the day progresses, you notice the light beginning to soften, casting long shadows across the marble floors. The energy in the baths remains high, but there's a subtle shift, a winding down towards the evening. You've seen the physical cleansing, the pampering, and now the intellectual and recreational pursuits. The baths truly were a world unto themselves, offering something for everyone. You've experienced a side of Roman life that is far richer and more complex than you ever imagined, a place where the body and mind were equally nourished. You take a deep breath, feeling a profound sense of contentment, ready to move on to the next aspect of this incredible institution. The journey through the Roman baths continues to unfold, revealing new layers of ancient society with every step. Having indulged in the physical and intellectual pleasures of the baths, you begin to notice another, perhaps more subtle, layer of activity unfolding around you. The Roman public bath, for all its focus on hygiene and relaxation, was also a bustling marketplace of ideas, influence, and ambition. This is the networking hub, where the real business of Rome, both commercial and political, often took place. You see groups of men, sometimes still draped in towels or lightly oiled, engaged in intense, hushed conversations, their gestures animated, their eyes sharp with calculation. It's a fascinating spectacle, this blend of naked vulnerability and shrewd negotiation. Imagine trying to close a major business deal while someone nearby is getting their armpits plucked. It adds a certain surreal quality to the proceedings, doesn't it? The relaxed atmosphere, the shared experience of the bath, seemed to lower inhibitions and foster a sense of camaraderie that was conducive to forging connections. You might spot a wealthy merchant discussing shipping routes with a senator, or a young aspiring politician seeking the patronage of an influential orator. The baths were the ultimate informal meeting space, far more effective than any stuffy office or formal banquet. Historians still argue whether the informality of the baths truly democratized networking or simply provided a more comfortable setting for existing power structures to operate. You observe a group gathered near a fountain, their voices low but earnest. One man, clearly a patron of some standing, is listening intently as another, younger man, passionately outlines a proposal for a new public works project. You catch snippets of their conversation, talk of contracts, labor, and the ever-present need for imperial approval. It's a delicate dance of persuasion and influence, played out against the backdrop of splashing water and distant shouts from the palestra. You realize that many of the decisions that shaped the Roman world, from the construction of new aqueducts to the appointment of provincial governors, might have been initiated or solidified right here, amidst the steam and marble. One quirky tidbit: some Roman politicians were known to strategically time their visits to the baths, knowing they would encounter key figures and have opportunities for informal discussions. It was a subtle art, this bathhouse diplomacy, requiring a keen eye for opportunity and a thick skin for the occasional accidental elbow. It's a bit like modern-day golf course networking, but with more public nudity and less plaid. You wonder if anyone ever tried to bribe a senator with a particularly good massage. Probably not, but the thought is amusing. Beyond the grand political maneuvering, the baths were also a place for everyday business. You might see a craftsman negotiating the price of his wares with a potential buyer, or a landowner discussing crop yields with his tenants. The sheer volume of people passing through the baths daily made it an ideal location for commerce and communication. Messages were exchanged, appointments were made, and rumors, both true and false, spread like wildfire through the various chambers. It was the ancient Roman equivalent of a bustling town square, but with added steam and the constant threat of slipping on wet marble. You can almost hear the faint clinking of coins changing hands, the rustle of papyrus as agreements are hastily scribbled. Historians still debate the extent to which formal business transactions occurred within the baths versus simply the initial stages of negotiation and relationship building. You notice a group of men huddled around a small table, intently studying a map. They appear to be discussing trade routes, perhaps planning a new venture to distant provinces. The atmosphere is serious, yet the setting is undeniably relaxed. The shared experience of the bath seemed to foster a sense of trust, or at least a temporary truce, among competitors. It was a place where social barriers, though never entirely absent, were at least temporarily lowered, allowing for more direct and informal interactions. This informality was a key aspect of Roman social life, and the baths were its prime stage. As you observe these interactions, you realize the profound impact the baths had on the social and political fabric of Rome. They were not just places of leisure, they were vital institutions that facilitated the functioning of the empire. Without these informal meeting grounds, the complex web of Roman society might have struggled to maintain its cohesion. It was a place where power was exercised, influence was wielded, and the daily pulse of the city could be felt. You might even catch a glimpse of a poet trying to secure funding for his next epic, or a sculptor seeking commissions for new public statues. The baths were a crucible of creativity and ambition, as much as they were a haven of relaxation. You feel a sense of awe at the sheer dynamism of this place. It's a constant ebb and flow of people, ideas, and transactions, all happening simultaneously. The sounds of negotiation blend with the distant splashing of water and the murmur of general conversation, creating a unique soundscape. You've seen the physical cleansing, the pampering, the entertainment, and now the intricate dance of business and politics. The baths truly were a world unto themselves, offering something for everyone, from the lowliest slave to the most powerful senator. You've experienced a side of Roman life that is far richer and more complex than you ever imagined. A place where the body and mind were equally nourished, and where the wheels of empire kept turning. As you prepare to move on, you carry with you a deeper understanding of how interconnected all aspects of Roman life truly were. The public baths were not just a luxury, they were an essential part of the social, economic, and political machinery of the empire. You take a deep breath, feeling a profound sense of contentment, ready to move on to the next aspect of this incredible institution. The journey through the Roman baths continues to unfold, revealing new layers of ancient society with every step, and you're ready to uncover the secrets of those who kept this magnificent machine running. As you navigate the grand halls and bustling chambers of the Roman bath, you've witnessed the patrons, the rituals, the social dances. But behind every gleaming marble surface, every perfectly heated room, and every smoothly scraped body, there's an army of unseen hands making it all happen. This is the realm of the staff and servants, the unsung heroes who kept these colossal complexes running like well-oiled machines. You begin to notice them now, flitting through corridors, diligently performing their tasks, a constant, quiet hum of activity that underpins the entire experience. You catch glimpses of furnace stokers, the fornicators, their faces smudged with ash, constantly feeding the roaring fires of the hypocaust system. These were the individuals responsible for maintaining the precise temperatures in the tepidarium, caldarium, and laconicum. It was a grueling, hot, and often dangerous job, requiring constant vigilance to ensure the fires burned evenly and efficiently. Without them, the entire bathing ritual would grind to a halt, leaving everyone shivering and uncleansed. You realize the sheer scale of the operation, the immense amount of wood or charcoal required daily to heat such vast quantities of water and air. It's a bit like trying to keep 1,000 pizzas warm in a single oven, but with significantly higher stakes. You wonder if they ever got a day off. Probably not, but a man can dream of a Roman labor union. Then there are the balneators, the bath attendants, who were responsible for the general management and upkeep of the baths. They oversaw the cleaning, ensured supplies were stocked, and generally kept order amongst the sometimes boisterous patrons. You see them directing traffic, settling minor disputes, and making sure the water in the pools is fresh and clean. They are the silent conductors of this grand symphony of hygiene, their authority subtle but firm. Historians still argue whether the balneators were primarily public slaves or freedmen, but their role was undeniably crucial to the smooth operation of the baths. As you move through the various rooms, you encounter the masseurs, or unctors, their hands skilled in the art of kneading muscles and applying fragrant oils. They are often slaves or freedmen, trained in therapeutic techniques, offering relief and relaxation to weary bathers. You might see them working on a senator's shoulders, or gently rubbing down a merchant's tired legs after a session in the palestra. Their touch is firm yet gentle, a testament to years of practice. It's a luxury that many patrons would have eagerly sought out, a final indulgence after the rigors of the heat and cold. One quirky tidbit: some masseurs were also skilled in rudimentary medical practices, offering treatments for aches, pains, and minor ailments right there in the baths. Imagine getting a chiropractic adjustment while still covered in olive oil. Beyond these more visible roles, there were countless others. The capsarii, young slaves who guarded patrons' clothes and valuables in the apodyterium, remember that precarious situation you were in earlier. The water carriers, constantly replenishing the basins and fountains. The cleaners, diligently scrubbing floors and walls, ensuring the pristine appearance of the marble. The vendors, selling snacks and drinks. The barbers, offering shaves and haircuts. The hair pluckers with their terrifying valselli. Each played a vital, if often overlooked, role in the intricate ecosystem of the Roman bath. It was a massive undertaking, a small city of workers dedicated to the comfort and cleanliness of the Roman populace. You realize that the grandeur and efficiency of the Roman baths were not solely due to ingenious engineering or lavish architecture, but also to the tireless labor of these individuals. They were the gears and cogs in this magnificent machine, often working in anonymity, their efforts rarely acknowledged by the patrons they served. Their lives were dictated by the rhythms of the baths, from the early morning fires to the late evening cleanups. It's a stark reminder of the social stratification of Roman society, where the leisure of some was built upon the labor of many. As you observe a young boy, perhaps a capsarius in training, diligently sweeping a stray leaf from a mosaic floor, you feel a pang of empathy. His future, like that of many others here, is inextricably linked to the fortunes of the bath complex. Yet, even in their servitude, there was a sense of purpose, a contribution to the daily life of Rome. Historians still debate the quality of life for these bath workers, with some sources suggesting harsh conditions, while others point to the potential for social mobility for skilled freedmen. Regardless, their presence was essential, their labor invaluable. You've seen the front of house, the grand displays of Roman leisure and luxury. Now, you've caught a glimpse of the backstage, the engine room where the magic truly happened. It adds another layer of appreciation for the complexity and ingenuity of Roman society. The baths were not just buildings, they were living, breathing entities, powered by human effort and dedication. You take a deep breath, feeling a profound sense of contentment, ready to move on to the next aspect of this incredible institution. The journey through the Roman baths continues to unfold, revealing new layers of ancient society with every step, and you're ready to uncover the secrets of those who kept this magnificent machine running. You've experienced the heat, the cold, the cleansing, the socializing, and even caught a glimpse of the tireless staff. Now, take a moment to truly appreciate the silent, colossal genius that makes all of this possible: the architecture and engineering of the Roman public bath. It's not just a building, it's a meticulously designed machine, a marvel of ancient technology that allowed thousands of people to bathe, relax, and socialize in comfort day after day, for centuries. You stand in awe, looking up at the soaring arches and vaulted ceilings, realizing the sheer audacity of the Roman vision. The most impressive and perhaps least visible aspect of this engineering feat is the hypocaust system. Remember those warm floors and walls in the tepidarium and caldarium? That wasn't magic, my friend, that was brilliant Roman innovation. Beneath your feet, and within the walls, lies a complex network of raised floors supported by small brick pillars, creating a hollow space. Hot air and smoke from massive furnaces, stoked by those fornicators you saw earlier, circulated through these spaces, heating the rooms from below. It was a radiant heating system, centuries ahead of its time, providing a consistent, comfortable warmth throughout the bathing areas. Imagine trying to design and build something like that without modern blueprints or computer simulations. It's a bit like building a giant, ancient central heating system, but without the benefit of a thermostat or a handy instruction manual. You wonder if they ever had a Roman equivalent of a boiler explosion. Probably not, but the thought is amusing. But the hypocaust was only one piece of the puzzle. The management of water was equally, if not more, astounding. These baths required an enormous, constant supply of fresh water and an equally efficient system for draining away the dirty water. This was achieved through the intricate network of Roman aqueducts, bringing pristine water from distant springs and rivers directly into the city and then, specifically, into the bath complexes. You can almost hear the distant rush of water through lead pipes, a constant flow ensuring that the pools were always fresh and clean. The dirty water, after use, was then channeled away through an elaborate system of drains and sewers, often used to flush the city's latrines before eventually emptying into the Tiber River. It was a sophisticated, self-sustaining cycle of water management, a testament to Roman urban planning. Historians still argue whether the Romans fully understood the health implications of lead pipes, but their engineering prowess in water delivery is undeniable. Look around at the sheer scale of the construction. The massive brick and concrete walls, often faced with marble, were not just for aesthetics. They were structural masterpieces designed to support the immense weight of the vaulted ceilings and the vast quantities of water. The concrete, a Roman invention, was incredibly durable, allowing them to build structures that have stood for millennia. The architects understood principles of stress and load distribution that would be fully rediscovered until the Renaissance. The sheer size of these complexes, often covering several acres, required an incredible amount of planning, resources, and skilled labor. It's a bit like building a modern stadium, but with hand tools and a lot more sweat. You wonder if they ever had a Roman equivalent of a building inspector. Probably not, but a man can dream of ancient Roman safety regulations. One quirky tidbit: some Roman baths even incorporated ingenious mechanisms for controlling light and air. For instance, the Pantheon, originally a temple but later a church, features a massive oculus in its dome, allowing natural light to flood the interior. While not a bath, the same principles of manipulating natural elements were applied. In baths, strategically placed windows and openings were designed to maximize sunlight and ventilation, creating a pleasant and healthy environment. They understood the importance of natural light and fresh air long before modern architects started talking about sustainable design. Imagine trying to get a good tan in the caldarium, probably not recommended. As you gaze up at the towering arches and the remnants of intricate mosaics, you realize that these structures were not just functional, they were also powerful symbols of Roman power, wealth, and civic pride. They were monuments to the empire's ability to harness nature and technology for the benefit of its citizens. The sheer scale and sophistication of these complexes were unparalleled in the ancient world, and indeed, for many centuries after. They were places where the ordinary Roman could experience a level of luxury and comfort that would be unimaginable in many other societies. Historians still argue whether the primary motivation for building such grand baths was public welfare or imperial propaganda, but their impact on Roman daily life is undeniable. Your journey through the baths has been a testament to this architectural and engineering genius. From the precise heating of the hypocaust to the constant flow of fresh water, every detail was meticulously planned and executed. You've seen how these structures facilitated not just hygiene, but also social interaction, business, and entertainment. They were truly integrated urban centers, designed to cater to every aspect of Roman life. You feel a profound respect for the minds that conceived and built these magnificent edifices, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire awe millennia later. The air still carries the faint scent of damp stone and ancient ambition as you prepare for the final stage of your Roman bath experience, a moment of reflection before returning to the bustling world outside. After the grand tour, the physical cleansing, the intellectual stimulation, and the sheer architectural awe, you find yourself drifting towards the exit, but not the same person who entered. You've been transformed, not just physically clean, but mentally refreshed, your senses reawakened. The journey through the Roman public bath is a complete experience, a ritual that leaves you feeling utterly rejuvenated and deeply reflective. You gather your belongings from the apoditerium, hopefully, they're still there, unlike that poor fellow's signet ring, and begin your slow re-entry into the bustling Roman streets. The air outside feels different now. Cooler, perhaps, but also sharper, more vibrant. The sounds of the city, once a cacophony, now seem clearer, more distinct. You notice the details you might have overlooked before: the chatter of merchants, the rumble of carts, the distant cries of street vendors. Your body feels light, your muscles loose, and your skin, still faintly scented with perfumed oil, feels incredibly soft and supple. It's a sensation of profound well-being, a quiet confidence that comes from having undergone a complete purification. You feel ready to face the Roman world, not just as a participant, but as someone who understands its rhythms and its rituals on a deeper level. As you walk, you reflect on the sheer accessibility of this luxury. The Roman public baths were not just for the elite, they were for everyone or almost everyone, for a very modest fee. This democratic access to hygiene, health, and social interaction was a cornerstone of Roman civic life, a public good provided by the state or wealthy benefactors. It fostered a sense of community and shared identity among the diverse populace of Rome. It's a mainstream historical fact that the baths played a crucial role in maintaining public health and social cohesion in the Roman Empire. Imagine a modern city where everyone, regardless of income, had access to such a comprehensive wellness center. It's a bit like a public park, a community center, and a spa all rolled into one, but with significantly more nakedness. You wonder if anyone ever tried to open a private, exclusive bathhouse, only to find it empty. Probably not, but a man can dream of ancient Roman market research. One quirky tidbit: some Roman baths even had designated areas where people could leave messages or advertisements, essentially an ancient bulletin board. Imagine finding a lost pet notice next to an advertisement for a gladiator school, or a philosophical debate announcement right next to a plea for a missing strigil. It truly highlights the baths as central hubs of information and communication, reflecting the daily lives and concerns of the Roman people. It was a place where the mundane and the profound coexisted, where the personal and the public intertwined. Your mind feels clear, unburdened by the day's anxieties. The combination of physical exertion, intense heat, cold shock, and deep relaxation has had a profound effect on your mental state. You feel a sense of calm focus, a quiet energy that wasn't there before. It's a testament to the Romans' intuitive understanding of the mind-body connection, long before modern psychology coined the term. They knew that a healthy body contributed to a healthy mind, and the baths were their primary tool for achieving both. Historians still argue whether the Romans explicitly understood the psychological benefits of bathing or if these were merely happy byproducts of their pursuit of physical hygiene, but the positive impact on well-being is undeniable. As you step out into the fading sunlight, the grandeur of the bath complex recedes behind you, but its impact lingers. You carry with you the memory of the echoing halls, the steamy chambers, the invigorating plunge, and the quiet camaraderie of shared experience. You've witnessed a slice of Roman life that is far richer and more complex than any textbook could convey. You've seen how a simple act of cleansing could be transformed into a profound social, cultural, and even political ritual. The baths were not just buildings. They were living, breathing institutions that shaped the very fabric of Roman society. You take a deep breath of the evening air, feeling a profound sense of contentment. The journey through the Roman baths has been an unforgettable one, a vivid immersion into a world both ancient and surprisingly familiar. You've shed your modern preconceptions and embraced the Roman way, if only for a day. You are, in a small but significant way, a transformed individual, carrying a piece of ancient Rome within you. The sounds of the city beckon, but you walk with a new lightness in your step, a quiet understanding in your heart. The Roman world awaits, and you are ready. And now, as the Roman day gently fades into twilight, so too does our journey. The echoes of splashing water, the murmur of ancient voices, the warmth of the hypocaust, and the invigorating chill of the frigidarium begin to recede, becoming soft whispers in the quiet corners of your mind. Allow your breath to deepen, to slow, feeling the gentle rise and fall of your chest. The grand marble halls, the bustling palestra, the intricate mosaics, they all soften, blurring at the edges, like a cherished memory just beyond your grasp. You are no longer a Roman bather, but simply you, drifting peacefully. The scents of olive oil and ancient perfumes, once so vivid, now mingle with the comforting aroma of your own space, a familiar and soothing blend. Let the lingering sensations of warmth and coolness, of cleansing and renewal, settle within you, a quiet comfort. There is no need to rush, no need to strive. Just ease into this moment, allowing the imagery to dissolve, leaving behind only a profound sense of calm. The ancient world has shared its secrets, its rhythms, its quiet wisdom. You are safe, you are warm, and the day's adventures are now but a gentle hum. Let your thoughts become as soft as the evening air, as still as the water in a forgotten pool. Rest now, and let the quiet stories of history lull you into a peaceful slumber. All is well. All is calm. Sweet dreams await your dreams,